Hi guys, thanks for joining me for this special IPL edition of our discussion. So let's start with the champions from last season, Mumbai Indians. So they've released Lasith Malinga after a 12-year association with him. They've released Nathan Coulter-Line, James Pattinson, McClanagan, and Shane Rutherford as part of their bowling. So I'll come to you guys individually. I'll start with Greg, Nakul, Abhimanyu. What do Mumbai Indians need?
I think it's pretty clear from the list of names you've just said they've released. They're looking for an overseas seamer to fill that gap and work nicely with Trent Boult. I think there may be room maybe for an overseas spinner or an all-rounder as well to fill kind of the gap left by Coulter-Nile and Pattinson. And then maybe an Indian batsman, but I'll leave it up to the other guys to chip in.
So I'll come to Abhimanyu because he's the Mumbai Indians fan from Mumbai. I want to ask you, like, as a fan who supported Mumbai Indians, who's the player you're looking at in the auction thinking that's who we need to go out and buy?
I feel Jai Richardson. He offers a good backup for the current bowlers that we already have, and I feel that he could actually. He's been really well. He's been doing really well in the Big Bash, and I feel that he could add a certain value, and he could be a person that we could look forward to in a few years because he's quite young, and we could keep him. We could retain him and keep him for the future options too.
What do you reckon, Nakul? Is Jai Richardson the option that Mumbai Indians should be going for?
Jai Richardson's a superb bowler, and he'd very much fit with the Mumbai Indians thing of having their second or third overseas fast bowler being an Australian. Although usually they go for the big burly Australians rather than the whippet thin Australians like Jai Richardson. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Jai's. I think he's a fantastic T20 bowler and can do some of the things that Lasith Malinga did in terms of bowling those sort of Yorker bouncer lengths at the death. Although it's pretty difficult to match that level of class. But yeah, he'd be a big option. I do think that a spinner is necessary for Mumbai. I know they've done remarkably well in the last few years without a top class spinner. Somebody like Mujib, who has been released by Kings 11, might be a decent pickup for Mumbai.
And what about a player like Shakib Al Hasan, who's back in the auction, and he's obviously a world-class spinner and a world-class batsman? Could Mumbai? I know Mumbai Indians have Kieran Pollard as an all-rounder, but is it also time to look at Shakib as that spinning all-rounder and who can take the batting deep?
Again, a world-class player. It's pretty hard to argue with Shakib, and he's just got injured in the Bangladesh test that's going on in Chittagong. The worry is there that a little bit like the Sunrisers, you end up with Shakib playing in a team or in a roster that don't need him, and so you end up with either the overseas balance doesn't work and he doesn't play, or the all-round. There's already too many all-rounders. You've got the Pandya brothers and you've got Kieran Pollard already in that lineup. And obviously, Pollard can't go on forever, but he seemingly is in the form of his life. Mumbai might find a way for Shakib Al Hasan, but in a way, I don't think they'll be terribly. What I can see is Mumbai entering the auction and bidding for Shakib, and then pushing up the bid for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So obviously they only have 15.35 crores in their kitty, which is not the highest. I think it's the second lowest. The bottom is KKR and Sunrisers at 10.75. So, Greg, I'll ask you, what about David Willey? Is he someone Mumbai can look at as an option?
Coming from Yorkshire, obviously, I'd say he's right up there and would be every value for money. But I think, like Nakul says, it's you risk when you're looking at this Mumbai side that have been so dominant for so many years. I think one of the key factors of the dominance in last year's campaign was the ability to retain the same team. I think there was only maybe 2 or 3 changes that they made throughout the tournament. So you do risk kind of bringing in a new player that might not be needed or might not play as much. But I think Willie could fit that all-rounder overseas slot. My only worry with bringing Willie in would be that he would be quite similar to Trent Boult, who I think would get the nod ahead of him. But no, he's definitely got a lot of experience that if they do have a couple of younger Indian bowlers, it would be a very good guy to have around in the changing rooms, quite similar to McClanagan these last couple of years, who hasn't played as much as he did at the start of his time with Mumbai. But no, I think he definitely would be maybe someone you could get slightly cheaper than some of the other options that are in the draft.
What you also get with Willie is potentially destructive batting. Although he's only ever really been of significant use to a T20 team batting in the top 3. But which he has done for Yorkshire and for Northants before that. He can be, he scored T20 hundreds before in good time. I don't see Mumbai using him up the order like that, but for somebody, he could be like a sort of Sunil Narine type impact player at the top of the order.
And
I feel, sorry.
go on.
Yeah, I feel a player like Adil Rashid or Moeen Ali could be ones that Mumbai could target, because we need an overseas spinner to just have as a backup, and Moeen Ali even offers a batting option lower down. So maybe in a few matches, because taking consideration Pollard's age, it might be possible to rest him. It might be needed to rest him. Then that time Adil Rashid or Moeen Ali could come into the side and they could just shift the lineup a little.
Yeah, and you make a good point there. But also, just on that spinner note, is there a comeback on the cards for Harbhajan Singh back to Mumbai Indians?
Too expensive.
Do you not reckon?
I think 2 crores is too expensive for a base price.
Do you guys think Harbhajan Singh will get picked up in the auction?
Absolutely, yes.
Yes.
He's exactly the sort of player who someone will blow a significant amount of money on, who could end up attracting a bidding war.
Well, we'll find out about that. Hopefully, it's not KKR. And by the sounds of it, Mumbai aren't going to go for him. One other player who I was thinking of, who Mumbai, like you mentioned earlier, the Pacers, the international Pacers, Isuru Udana, Sri Lankan in the auction, let go by RCB last season. Obviously, he didn't do too well for RCB, but he does have the variation that you spoke about, which is required in T20. Could he be a cheap option considering the budget that Mumbai Indians have, because they don't have too much money left?
Yes, that's a possibility. Yes, he was even offering a little bit of batting depth in the lineup. He was coming low down the order and was there to hit a little shots. So I feel Mumbai used to have that issue that post 6 down, 7 down, we used to not have a lot of batting depth. We need that batting depth. That's what we've seen with the England cricket team, that they've done over the years, that they've had a lot of batting depth. Like having batting players till 8 down, 9 down is what T20 requires at times when the pitch is not in your favor.
Yeah, and what does Isuru Udana bring to the table, if I can ask you, Nakul, first, and then Greg?
Isuru Udana was one of those players who you looked at as another one of those players that you thought was kind of the missing piece of the jigsaw for RCB in terms of providing an all-round option, providing, as Abhimanyu said, that batting depth. He can be devastating lower down the order. He's a very clean hitter of the ball, and he's got the left arm angle, and he bowls good Yorkers. He bowls good slower balls. He can be useful kind of in the lower and middle stages of the innings with the ball. If I don't recall his base price off the top of my head, but he is the kind of smart pick who has worked well for Mumbai in the past. I'm thinking particularly of someone like Ben Cutting. As a good kind of parallel for how this could work for Mumbai.
Yeah, no, I agree with what Nicole said there. I think he was a bit unlucky last year when he played some of the games I saw for RCB and thought he could have continued a bit longer, but then obviously with Chris Morris coming back in towards the end of the campaign, he kind of saw his place miss out. But no, he could be a very shrewd pickup for Mumbai. But sticking on the Sri Lankan theme, if I can throw out another name there that might fit in the Mumbai Indians setup, would be Wanindu Hasaranga. I think he could be a cheaper option and would provide, again, a bit of firepower at the end and could fill this overseas spinning gap with his variations and a bit of mystery that he's got. Wherever he goes, I think he would be interested to see how he goes in the IPL, but could be a name for Mumbai to have a look at.
And obviously, we've spoken about the bowling. The focus has been on the bowling. Do they need to add a batsman to their ranks? Because obviously, Ishan Kishan was great for them last season. But obviously, he's a youngster, so we don't know what we can expect from him this coming season. So is there the depth? Is the depth already there in that squad that they don't need to bid for a batsman and can go all out for that one spinner, one pacer?
I think so for this auction maybe, because I feel the next auction is going to be the mega auction, wherein you already have to release a lot of players, just retain a certain amount. So probably for this year, I would say they are good to go with the squad that they have and just focus on the bowling depth that they need.
Yeah, Nakul, sorry.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Ishan Kishan, he is young, but he's also very experienced at IPL level. It was a genuine surprise when he was left out towards the start of the IPL in favour of Saurav Tiwari, who did okay, but to be fair, but Ishan Kishan in any other era would be India's ODI and T20 keeper already. He's a proven quantity. I think you can trust him. You've also got Aditya Tare, who's still in the squad and who can be useful as a backup if Ishan does get injured as a wicketkeeper batsman. It's pretty hard to forget him coming in and hitting a 6 first ball to get Mumbai through a qualifier a few years ago. I would say that they've retained Chris Lynn. It might have been. You might have wondered if they might have released Chris Lynn and gone for a slightly cheaper and less one-dimensional backup opener to Quinton de Kock and Rohit Sharma, but they haven't, so they've gone with it. Let's see how that goes. But I don't think they'll stray too far from the Rohit, de Kock, Surya, Ishan, Pandya brothers, Pollard formula, if at all possible.
Yeah. So obviously, last question for each of you. If you were the MI camp, you had to sign one player with that 15.35 CR that you have. Who would you sign? One player. I'll start with Greg.
I think I would take Jai Richardson.
What about you, Nakul?
I'm going to go for Mujib, actually. I think the need for the quality spinner is slightly higher than it is for the extra fast bowler.
I think Jai Richardson.
Okay. And obviously this guy we have not discussed, but Arjun Tendulkar is also in the auction with 20 lakhs base price. Is he going to Mumbai Indians?
Absolutely, yes.
I think so.
Yes.
He was with the Mumbai camp last season.
No, he will go to Kings 11 for a ludicrous amount of money and barely play.
Yeah, their auction strategy. We'll get to that. Right. Thanks for this one, guys. We'll get to the next one tomorrow.